This one is, am I the astronaut for going no contact with my mother for what she did at my bridal appointment? So to understand the situation, you will need to hear the backstory. I have been with my now fiance since we were in high school, and we are both very close to our 30s. We were planning to get married in 2018, but I got pregnant and we postponed. I went dress shopping for that wedding, and I got one, but didn't have my bridal moment. My mom did put down a payment on the first dress, which I did not ask her to do. We have decided to now go ahead with planning our wedding again, and we have set a date for next fall. We both agreed to a dark, moody, romantic vibe. I decided that a lot has changed, and I have changed in that time span since I bought my first dress, and I no longer wanted to wear it, as it also didn't fit the vibe we were going for. So I booked a bridal session to try on new dresses. The bridal shop I picked, I found from TikTok because I just absolutely fell head over heels for a black dress they were selling at their shop. I later found out the dress I wanted to go for was no longer being made, and it was not an option. But my mom and I didn't talk for a week after a big fight about the potential dress being black and not white. She called me after a week and told me she is okay with it and I can wear black if I wanted to, as if it were up to her. Now onto the nitty gritty. My mother showed up late for one, not any more than 10 to 15 minutes. However, I was there 15 minutes early. She had missed the discussion I had with the consultant about me, my fiance, the wedding, etc. Well, that also included the price point of the dress. Just the dress, nothing else. I felt like I compromised on my last dress and didn't want to pick another dress if it didn't make me cry. Assume that means in a good way. I had to have my bridal moment. And I have always been adamant about having a long veil, specifically cathedral length. We are set loose in the store and we all got to pick our dresses for me to try on. My mom and my mother-in-law picked out the same gown and I tried it on. I guess while I was putting it on, my mom was raving about how she just knew that was going to be my dress. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. We had gotten down to the very last dress and I put it on and instantly I could feel something was different. And when I walked out, I saw myself in it and all of the little details and I got my bridal moment. I cried like a baby. And the consultant then asked if I wanted to see it with a veil. 1,000% you bet I did. She brought in two options, one significantly pricier than the other, and she asked which I wanted to try on. I wanted to try the expensive one on. Didn't know the prices until after I tried the first one. The pricey veil was $1,000 and my mom threw a fit. The longer the veil, the higher the cost, and there is only one other size longer than a cathedral, so yeah, I expected it to cost a pretty penny. And I will give it to the veil price that they are handmade and they are dyed with the fabric of my dress to make sure that there are no color discrepancies. And it also had Swarovski crystals all over the veil, so the price, although high, could have been justified in my opinion. But I actually ended up picking up the second veil, which was like half the cost of the first one, and that was without the 20% discount on accessories I would get for purchasing my dress with them. She went onto Amazon and found a cathedral veil for under $200, saying my wedding didn't need to cost so much money. I specifically cut prices elsewhere to be able to get whatever I wanted when it came to what I will be wearing on my wedding day. I kept trying to tell her I was not going to be wearing a veil from Amazon on my wedding day, not to discredit or make anyone else feel some type of way. If they do, it just ain't for me. Not to mention my dress is not a normal color. In fact, it is a combination of 3 different colors to give it its own unique coloring. 1, it would be incredibly hard to match it with something I bought online. 2, I am not comfortable spending that much money on something I cannot visibly account for the quality and the color of. 3, it is my wedding and I am the one paying for it. So my mother and I continue to argue about this veil. She thinks I'm still purchasing the $1,000 one. And we go back and forth for 5 to 10 minutes and she just keeps putting her phone into my face saying, see, look. And I guess it finally clicks in her head that she isn't going to get her way. She picks her things up and proceeds to say something to the tune of, well, if you aren't going to listen to me, I just don't even know why I came or why I was invited. And she just left. Well, my sister came in with her, so she went to leave with her, and she got out to the car. My mom was absolutely trashing me to her new husband, telling him how I am a narcissist, saying how I am just like my dad. He has been dead for over 4 years, but everything she hated about him, she was saying I was just like him. I feel like she robbed me of my moment and my experience, and we haven't talked since. Am I the asshole? Wow. Okay. So the specific question on this was, am I the astronaut for going no contact with my mother for what she did at my bridal appointment? So OP is paying for all of her own stuff. That is a very important distinction. Mom just wanted to get her way here. I don't know if OP was paying for it. Why was this a hill that Mom was willing to die on? Why? And then when she doesn't get her way, to take her ball and go home and to trash her on the way out to the car, comparing all the things that she hates about her to the things that she hated about her dead dad, OP's mom's ex-husband. Presumably, this is definitely an NTA. There's got to be some kind of motivating factor behind here. Okay, so Mom did put a deposit on the first dress that she ended up not keeping, right? I'm trying to make some sense of this. I don't know that there's any sense to be made, but I'm trying to make some sense of it. We'll go ahead and make the official distinction here that OP, you were NTA for going no contact here. There's obviously a lot more going on here, and you have every right to go no contact here. Diving into what specifically caused this and why is this a hill that she's willing to die on? That would be the biggest question that I would have for her is why? Why is this so important that you're willing to destroy our relationship over it and throw an absolute bitch fit and trash me for making a decision about something that I'm going to spend money on? Why is this it's your way or the highway thing when it has nothing to do with you? You don't talk like that about the dad in front of one of his daughters, especially he's passed. But I feel like this being a hill that Mom was willing to die on, and the things that she said after the fact and her reaction to not getting her way there. I mean, of course she had input. She was invited, but input is input. It is not a final decision. And even if she were paying for things, I think my understanding of the bridal situations is that moms still get a vote. They don't get final say. They get budget say if they're paying for things. There was a TikTok I saw a few weeks ago that was talking about the quote that the blood is thicker than water, and the actual full quote was, the blood of the coven is thicker than the water of the womb. So that was to say that the people that you choose in your life, that bond is stronger than the genetic bond that you have with people. Let's go ahead and bring Mom up here and figure out how big of an asshole Mom was. Okay, so as a reminder, ascon scale is reversed a little bit. Ascon 1 is the most severe asshole. Ascon 4 is the least severe asshole. 4 is you could have done it differently. 3 is you should have done that differently. 2 is you definitely shouldn't have done that. And 1 is you're a terrible human. Now keep in mind here, she did pay a deposit on the first dress that OP ended up not using. But when the second one came around, she wanted her way or the highway. And when she didn't get her way, she just completely trashed her on the way out in front of her sister and to her new boyfriend, and equated a lot of things that she hated about her to the things she hated about her since past father. So there's some pretty awful things going on there. Pretty awful. She did a really, really terrible thing by going there. She didn't have to go there at all. If she had just said, well, if you're not going to take my input, why am I even invited? And then just left, she'd still be on the ascon scale, but she wouldn't be as high on the scale as she is because she just reached into the bag of tricks and was like, fine, screw it. I'm lighting this bridge on fire, and went ahead and lit it on fire. But remember, we also reserve ascon 1 for the truly terrible people. And was this a truly terrible thing, or was this just you definitely shouldn't have done that kind of thing? And I think I'm leaning that direction, keeping in mind that we save ascon 1 for those truly evil people. I don't think this was an evil thing. I think this was just I didn't get my way, so I'm going to throw a tantrum kind of thing. So throw an ascon 2 on here. She could be a 1. She very well could be a 1, but I don't think it's evil. I think it's just a stupid thing.